now we're here. Richard and I, you didn't get nothing?
No, I ate breakfast like a normal person.
You slacker, we came here, he's gonna watch me eat.
No, yeah, there we go.
Okay, yeah, eat the fries.
There you go.
Just doesn't get my flow of work. The waking up late, the eating lunch early. He's such a sheep.
I'm a sheep.
He doesn't stop being a sheep. You know the cheese curds from Culver's? Culver's made a giant cheese curd and stuck it in a hamburger. And it's amazing. I would recommend that everybody try this immediately. Part of Richard's new job description while he's with me for the week is to come to the tackle shop and then help me find tackle. Are you helping me find tackle right now? What are you doing? Not yourself, me.
Oh, I said you have a spending problem.
No, I don't.
You have a tackle problem then.
Who doesn't have a tackle problem? It's what we are.
We just cleaned your boat out.
Okay, here, complain to my audience about tackle problems.
Literally just cleaned your boat out. Pulled out boxes.
I mean that
boxes.
we have more to put in there now.
Boxes.
Whatever.
Of soft plastic.
Whatever.
That are rotting. But no, new ones.
Whatever. Then we're gonna figure out how to use that welder we bought and have never used. I was like such a big rush to get that welder, and then I got it and I have not touched it for months. And I also have a plasma cutter. Bought it, never touched it for months. But today's the day it all gets used. All right, so it's time to just use this thing. We're gonna use it. So this is the Millermatic 255P. So it's supposed to be a pretty pro welder in terms of what it can do. It's got the pulse mechanism, so it can help you with welding. We got gas, and then we bought the Pro Gun, which is the push-pull MIG, and we're gonna be running, I think, superior quality wire through it instead of, we have all kinds, we have it all. But this thing, the good thing about this is it's so big, it'll drape over a boat that big. So we only have to be moving the welder a lot. And plus we're gonna have to move that boat in here because it's so windy outside, there's no chance we can use gas and it's ever gonna like stay there. So we're gonna go ahead and set this up. And that's a big spool. Is that like a spacer? That comes out, right? That's the manuals. So this should come off, and then this should be a spacer. This should be where the wire goes. Yeah, so that comes off. Let's get some wire. We will be using 5056, I believe. What is this? That's 4043. Here's 5056. Well, that's not good. So that's a problem. We have to make a run to practice there. I would need the biggest spacer ever to tension against that. All right, so we had to go and pay $1 million for this gigantic spool of wire that should last me the rest of the year. That's obscene. I didn't know how much more wire that is. Look at that, dude. That's a lot more wire. Well, I guess it could have gone either way, huh?
It's just gravity.
Yeah. Oh, I think, no, the washer.
It's already on there. Just put on this.
You're supposed to put that over it.
It is.
No,
this just holds the spool onto that.
Yeah, but the washer's supposed to go after the springs, remember? We want it to not. Right there. Like right there. Okay, go ahead and run it.
Does that go to positive or negative?
Auto set, pulse. What's pulse? Push, pull, pulse. Yes. What's the 035?
Yeah, 0.035.
Okay. Material thickness is 1/8. It's already on everything we need. So we're on push, pull, pulse MIG. So we're on the pulse is what I wanted. So let's do the, hold on. Whoa, that wasn't good. Where's it blowing? It's blowing out here. Is that not tight? Hold on. What's blowing out of here? What is that? And why is it causing me problems? Hold on.
No, it's not.
It is blowing out. You can feel it right here. You can feel it. You can't feel that? It's right here. Stop, stop, stop.
Yeah, but
It's right here. Put your finger under there.
yeah. Why is it doing that?
I don't know. If I have to go back there again, I'm just going to give it a little nod. So we're back to the welding shop again.
Back again.
The first time it was...
Bad regulator.
Yeah, show him.
Bad regulator. Bad.
All right. Take a last select, shove at the middle of the shoulder, and leaving.
Get a bigger wrench.
Okay, that's it to back this out all the way.
Not that far.
Okay, so not that far. Well, how do you know it's in or not? Like,
Did it stop?
yeah, it stopped. Push, 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 push.
That's out.
Right there, it's out. Okay, slowly turn it, because I'm scared. Okay, so we got the pressure. Damn, we don't have a whole lot of pressure at all, huh? Got about 100 psi, that'll be
All right, so what do we need to set this at for this?
between 15 and 20. So we're gonna tighten it
Oh, I see.
right there. So far, nothing has blown up. I got a bunch of scrap aluminum here to test it out on. Oh. That's 1/8, and that's 1/8. Makeshift welding table. Yay, look at that.
Hey, if you read that manual, it tells you what to change to make that go away.
What, the black stuff?
Yeah, it tells you what we're doing wrong and what that's doing.
What are we doing wrong?
I don't know, I didn't read that part.
Probably because I was pulling.
And it looks like gas. I think the black's usually soot, like we're getting dirty. Well, it could be dirty aluminum.
No, it's because we're pulling, and I forget. I'm just so used to fluxing that way. But still, I mean, if you compare that weld to my first 1/8 inch weld, where I completely destroyed the aluminum.
Dude, that thing ran. Oh yeah.
Here, let me try a different way. Let me push.
Oh, let's just see something. Yeah, man, that welds. That's a single piece of metal now.
Well, the good test is if you cut it in half. Well, let me put this here. With something right here.
What do we got?
That's solid.
There it is.
Look at that. That is as solid as it gets. You want to try that? That was just like welding steel. That was freaking. Richard's gonna try it now.
I do want to.
So that looks better. Yeah, see the pushing and how most of it's gone because you pushed it. Even though my way that I pushed it, that's still an acceptable weld.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But yours is still really good.
I'm gonna slow down.
Woo, that's hot.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah. Well, is that where you started to burn through? Were you running? Yeah, you were starting to burn through. You didn't move fast enough. Move faster on the aluminum. Hey, Richard, what are you doing?
Moving fast, and I'm not rocking. I'm just pushing.
Yeah, you can see where you're taking it. You can visibly watch you burn through it too long. Too long. Watch.
You can almost.
Huh?
No, it's me.
What? You gotta. You see the bead.
Let me stand it up more vertical like you did.
See my bead? Hold this.
Yeah.
Look at my pro bead. I can barely hold this thing. It's burning. Burns. See? And then there's Richard's bead over here. Okay.
I gotta show the either one.
There it goes.
Yep.
Okay, no, here, do another run. Do it on this one, go fast.
Faster.
Fast. Fast. Dude, what are you doing wrong?
I feel like I'm going faster than you're going.
You're not. Look at it. You burnt a hole through the whole thing. That was better, but still.
Yeah, maybe I'm going closer.
No, you're supposed to go closer. At least you're getting rid of the soot. So that was my issue with the soot. Was over here is we were pulling and not pushing. Then we did this one, and that was mine when I pushed instead of pulled over here. And then these are
This one, and that one are yours.
which one?
All the ones that are roll. So that one, that one, that one, and that one.
This one's mine.
That was my first one.
Yeah.
Your first one.
Your first one looks the best.
I know.
What happened?
Started listening
Then
to
the rest
you.
of yours look like this.
And this is your advice.
No, dude. How do you go faster and it gets worse?
I
Look
think I'm
what you
gonna.
did. You can't do that to the framing. What are you gonna do?
That's why we're practicing.
Yeah, maybe it. Okay, we're just gonna go with that one,
Yeah.
which is still we're still even moving slow for that one. Like maybe we just move faster altogether.
I don't know. Give it a shot.
Well, let's go get more one day.
Do we get rid of that soot?
So that's just part of what the wire is. There's some wire that doesn't soot at all. We don't have that wire. Okay, but other wire leaves a black soot. That's just how aluminum is.
Okay.
It's a compound of the wire, but there's really supreme wire where you don't ever see none of that black shit. All you gotta do is just scrub it off. So you would slide this in like this. Maybe like that. Like that. We're gonna weld that. Because this is how I will weld and frame this boat in right now. So that will work. That's gonna work. That's how I want it in. And then we can weld the top of that real quick and then grind it down so it's flat. So the whole frame will be flat. Weld it in like that. And then the lack of efficiency will be taken care of because we'll have all that and it won't be tubing. And we'll have area to put the tubes for under supports and the sheet metal. And it'll just be a lot more space down there. I'm not going to be welding all the time in these videos. Welding is going to take over like my life. It's just one tool that eventually I needed it. I was running out of reasons to not get a welder at this point in time. The reason I didn't get one for the longest time is, for one, it's expensive even from the lowest end even to a higher end. Like this was like the higher end. By the time I was all done with the safety equipment in the tank and the welder and the program, the push pull that you saw, it was closer to 10 grand. Like that was a serious business investment I made on my behalf where I was like, okay, I'm going all in on this. I'm all about a buy once, cry once mentality, and you grow into the max unit. No, because when I start on a starter unit, it's like I almost immediately outgrow it when I do that. Like everybody's like, just do a startup unit like this, and then all of a sudden I get what it is, and then I get why people buy a pro one. So just to say, it saves money in the end without having to do like step ups. Plus, John gave me that pretty sweet Hobart, which I gave to somebody else. Just passed down the lineage, and that one was pretty cool. The spool gun. Watching Richard mess up those welds, even with the pulse thing on here, that made me feel a little bit better about myself from that first weld to do with aluminum. But it was, truth be told, if you're wondering how hard welding is, to learn the whole profession, to get the skill to know to weld anything, obviously that's going to take some schooling and some certification and some years of experience. But to really honestly just know what it takes to weld, the talent is either there for you or it's not in terms of knowing what to do. Likely you have the talent. Really, it took me 20 minutes. It didn't take 20 years of welding experience. It took 20 minutes to figure out the initial weld, and then like a few projects to refine it enough to where it looks good. And I still have only got like not even one full project of aluminum welding in, and so we just figured it out. I have several projects of welding still. It took like almost no time to figure out steel. But it took a few projects, like 2.5 projects, to really get it refined and to where it looks really good. Like my bead stacks are just like pristine, and I know what to do. Don't start from the angle, start from like the corner, you know, push this way or pull that way. And so it's much better. And then the other thing is, like, I'm only doing it on a few things. Like me, I'm welding steel for trailers. I'm not structurally welding something. I don't need to know this, that, and the fourth, all these different terminologies. There, at that point in time, you do need to go to school and get a certification if you're gonna be a professional welder. But like, if you're doing it for DIY purposes, it's very easy to find like the certain things that you're doing and just focus on figuring out what the settings are for that cake. I mean, for steel, you can get into steel depending on what you get. If you just straight get a helmet, gloves, a flux core welder, and a piece of flux core, you got like the titanium Easy Flux 125. You can get all that done for just under $500. You can start welding today, like right now on a trailer, for $500 to start welding solid MIG. And you gotta get the tang, you gotta get the cart. It's a little bit more. It starts to get like 800, 900. It starts to get creeping up there. By the time you get to aluminum, you need to invest close to $2,000. Like if you get it under $2,000 for a whole aluminum setup, like a decent, we're talking like a spool gun, a DC welder. That's the cheapest way you can weld aluminum is at DC. The reason AC is way better than DC because AC handles the temperature. I'm not gonna try and explain to you like I know what I'm talking about, but they explained it to me. Essentially, AC is better than DC for welding. But you can weld at DC with a spool gun, and you can do that with a setup. You can get like a Vulcan Omni Pro 220 with a spool gun and the argon tank, all the safety equipment, the aluminum, the wire itself. You can get all that for like under $2,000, but it'll cost you a little bit more. You can get the Tik 205, start tigging with that one. I would say the Vulcan welders are pretty phenomenal as far as like a gateway drug for welding. They're quite good. Like when the Vulcan Omni Pro 220, that welder changed my life. That thing welds everything. In fact, it's my backup. I have a backup spool gun on that one just in case. By the time you get to this level, this is like a sub $10,000 setup, everything included. Welder, pro gun, and I went and bought a really nice, pretty seriously expensive helmet. With the whole thing, I was like telling the guys, like, look, I want to buy once, cry once. What do I need to like be comfortable so I don't have to come back and be like, I'm outgrowing this? And he gave me all this, and I was like, oh man. But I had just enough investment capital to get this. I don't regret it. Well, yeah. Like right now I still have a stomach ache from how much it costs and how little I've used it. But I plan to use it a lot, and it's these peak times in the project where I'm just like, I'm so glad I got that. When I bought that Milwaukee Portaband, the larger one, the M18 one, I regretted that one for a long time, because for a long time I only used it like once every few months. I was like, man, I don't know if I wasted my money buying this. Like most of the time I don't need it. And now when you get really into metalworking, you use that thing almost every day, and it was the best investment I ever made. I would just say don't be scared of it. Have the funds to invest. Those quotes are pretty accurate. If you invest, you have this amount of money, you can get into it. You get this amount of money, you can get into it. You have some practice pieces to splurge around and put together like we did today, get into it. And to be fair to Richard, when he was welding those things, I forgot that the helmet I gave to him, it was set for flux core. Like the shade was really high. So some really crucial tips for aluminum. The shade needs to be lower, just so you know if you're gonna start it. I mean, if I could tell you what happened when I started and why my welds turned out different than Richard's, because Richard taught me how to weld. That's what's hilarious. Is he actually showed me the little Chicago Electric 90, and we tried to weld together my trailer tongue together because my boat was like 1 inch from breaking up and flying off into the road. And we were welding later on at night with that Chicago 90, and then that's when I actually got into it, when I was like, this is cake. So it's funny when he was there. The pulse function is really nice. You don't need to use it all the time, but for specific areas where it's giving you difficulty, I would say to not use the pulse function all the time on it, because you'll get spoiled and you'll forget how to actually run beads on a normal. And sometimes the pulse function just doesn't work as well. Like it doesn't. But the reason he was still burning through even with a pulse function is because his helmet was shaded too dark. I forgot to tell him that his helmet's shaded for not just for steel, it's shaded for flux core, and flux core is super bright. Super bright. It's way brighter than the aluminum you saw. Like you have in the camera lens, it just blows out the whole camera lens. You gotta darken it way down to even see anything. So like that was shaded like 3 shades higher than what you need to actually see aluminum when you're looking at aluminum. Even when I used to braze it, I could tell, you could look right at the aluminum, and when it started getting a red tint, like it started catching on fire, like you saw the orange fiery tint, that's when you need to move. You're like, okay, I can't hold it on here anymore, it's gonna blow through. That's when you need to move. So you don't necessarily move faster. You do move faster, but like it's not like from point A to point B is faster. It's your zigzag, you're drawing back and forth, it needs to be faster. Like you need to be watching it, because immediately it's gonna turn red, like immediately. And when it turns red, you need to move. You need to know exactly how long you can hold it on there, and that just comes with it. You figure that in like 20 minutes. And okay, it's turning red, you gotta move. Then I can move a little bit back because the same amount of bead still has to be applied. The same amount of wire still has to be applied to the unit until you get that puddle. So you still have to go back to it. So, I mean, you can't go any faster than that, but you can move faster in sweeping movements. That way, when you're running over it, you don't burn through it. Because if you hold it like you hold it on steel, you can hold it until you watch it physically glowing red yellow, and then you move glow red yellow, and then you can kind of, you feather it the same way, but you can move so much slower with steel because that's what it takes to weld steel. It doesn't take like that to weld aluminum. Weld in seconds, it's already through. Now the true refinement with that gun, it being a little heavier and a little bit bulkier than the standard MiG, we'll get it. But I mean, I need a few more projects. I really don't even have one full project of welding aluminum, like nothing. I welded end caps and the bow plate on the budget build because I was like, okay, this needs to happen. There's no way around it. I welded those front caps for the pond prowler. And other than that, I haven't really touched aluminum. This is the first time I touched aluminum in a very long time. So I just got it done. Finally, it's done. What can I say? But we're in here too deep. The reason I didn't buy a welder for so long is because, for one, I didn't want to go into the investment of how much it was going to actually cost. And is my average audience person even going to have the area in their garage, let alone the funding to just go start welding, having to replace their outlet, getting another 220 outlet in their garage or on the side of their house, making sure it works? Like, all these things, like, is it going to work for that? Is any of it going to work for that? And so or can we show people how to do it with rivets to a certain point? So we've showed you to a certain point. We pretty much maxed out anything you can do structurally with rivets to the point where it's not terrifying. But beyond a point, like a boat that big and with a motor that powerful, you can't. The whole frames need to be welded together at that point in time. That things structurally need to happen. And I'll just point it that we're there at this channel. But I do not in any way think somebody is like less talented than somebody else if they use rivets versus welding. Talent and skill are completely two different things. Somebody who's highly skilled, that's nice. Talent marks how high you can peak in skill. So somebody with more talent and less skill will always beat you, or you'll always beat them if you're more talented than them. So it's never about talent. My whole point is to reach out to people who have talent on this channel, who have untapped amounts of talent like I had. I pulled myself out from an office job with no tools. And because of, God's gift that He's given me, I was able to outmaneuver and out-engineer a lot of people who were already on YouTube. Beat them all. Now we're here. That was from an office job with no tools. Nobody to mentor me. I didn't have, like, a shop with advanced tools. I didn't have anybody to mentor me into the trades. I had no trade experience. None. And I still came out to where I am right now, out of nowhere. And that's just because I figured out what my talents were, and I wanted to capitalize on those talents. That made me much more happy to do those versus being in a nice, safe, cushy, consistent office job that was 9 to 5, where I walked around in a smug shirt and pretended like I was important because I had a degree. And that's where I'm at. I'm trying to empower those people because I feel 10 times better as a man doing what I'm supposed to be doing versus following like the sheep dream, the pipe dream sold to you that if you need a degree, I mean, that's what it took for you to make it in life. That's the only way you're going to make it into anything. That don't go to the trades, you're going to blow your back out, your joints are going to hurt and you wish you went to school. That's not true. I'll tell you what, as somebody consistently comes back from being an office B-word into a craftsman, back and forth, I switch out of my garage into my studio here and I do administrative stuff. I get burnt out on one, the other one, I go back to the other one. The other one burns me out. It's much, it is what it is. Work is work. Burnout is burnout. Physical burnout is just as bad as mental burnout. They all require a vacation. But like, if you wake up one morning and you're in your job and you're like, oh, I should have went to college. Maybe you didn't have to. Maybe if you went that way, it wouldn't do anything for you. Maybe you're right where you need to be. All right, guys, thanks.